Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our MC today, Senior Vice President, Diversity and Inclusion at TCF Bank, Donnell White.
It's still morning. Good morning. The rain is gone. The sun is shining. Today must be a great day. Thank you for being with us. Thank you all for being here. What a monumental day. A day that solidifies a strong partnership. A day marked by inclusion and celebration. And as a native Detroiter, a day a long time coming and one that begins a new important chapter for our great city. Again, my name is Donnell White, and I have the pleasure of serving as the Chief Diversity Officer and Director of Strategic Partnerships for TCF Bank. And I have the honor of today of serving as our chairman for today's exciting announcement. On August 1st of 2019, Chemical Bank and TCF Bank completed their merger of equals to become the premier Midwest bank headquartered right here in Detroit, Michigan. A bank that is deeply committed and focused on the right priorities, investing in Detroit, in its people, and in its neighborhoods, which is a primary mission of the bank and a critical reason why I was willing to leave my leadership post at the NAACP last year to join our state's largest financial institution. It's incredible to be here today with the community, faith, and business leaders from across our great city, region, and state. Joining us today is Governor Whitmer, Mayor Mike Duggan, Council President Member Brenda Jones, and all other council members who are here today, Chief James Craig, Larry Alexander, and the entire Convention Authority Board, our bank colleagues who are also joining us, my mentor and former, and sometimes he still thinks current, boss, Reverend Dr. Wendell Anthony, and of course, our amazing team, Gary Torgo, Dave Provost, Craig Dahl, Tom Schaefer, Ron Klein, and that sea of TCF red that you see out there. You all are what leadership looks like, and today would have not been possible without all of your hard work and dedication. Please give yourselves a round of applause. It is now my pleasure to introduce Mr. Larry Alexander, Chair of the Detroit Regional Convention Facility Authority and President and CEO of the Detroit Metro Convention and Visitors Bureau, who has been at the forefront of efforts to make sure our convention center is a world-class and that we put Detroit on the map, both nationally and globally. Ladies and gentlemen, Chairman Larry Alexander.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome. This is a very exciting celebration this morning, and I'm so pleased that you are here to be a part of this great day. You know, I look around and I think that this once was the arena once stood, where the Pistons played, and the site of the many legendary concerts that took place here. And then I look at that beautiful waterfront behind me, where Anton Cadillac landed, and realize that this center was built as part of the 250th birthday gift. And finally, think about the first event held here that was on October 17th, 1960. And it was the 43rd Auto Industry Dinner. And the President of the United States, Dwight D. Eisenhower, was the keynote speaker. Talk about some memorable moments that we have experienced in this great facility. And today is no shortage of that. Now, I have the distinct honor of welcoming our dignitaries, our esteemed guests, and supporters of this Regional Convention Center on this important occasion. Our special welcome to Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Mayor Mike Duggan, Senator Debbie Stabenow, City Council President Brenda Jones, and the Reverend Dr. Wendell Anthony, who were able to fit us into their busy schedule today. And a deeply felt welcome to the people whose work over the past 10 years have made this day possible. First, the appointer, representatives of the Detroit Regional Convention Facility Authority, namely Wayne County Executive Warren Evans, New Oakland County Executive Dave Coulter, and a special salute to L. Brooks Patterson, who recently passed away. Macomb County Executive Mark Hapkel, and Mayor Michael Duggan, and their designated appointees, Wayman Gillibo, Joseph Abdul, Lisa Canada, and Michael Carroll. All of the appointees came together with one mission in mind: to create the best facility in the country, and they have worked diligently and uncompensated for 10 years. In fact, the authority will mark its 10th anniversary next month. And a special thank you to Patrick Barrow, who was diligent in managing our debt and $300 million renovation budget, saving the taxpayers some $91 million through an early payback while making this public-private partnership a model for the entire country to view. Thank you. And our partner here, SMG, the world's leading convention center management firm, has managed operations since 2010. They've rebuilt the business model, resulting in a $20 million reduction in operating deficit while quadrupling the number of major events that are held here annually. Thank you to Claude Molinari and your hardworking team, including Tony Thomas from Centerplate, who runs our food service operation. I'd also like to salute Gary Brown and the laborers, the thousands of workers at the center we hire, alongside our legislative leadership who work so cohesively to support the authority and the investment we needed, because their support would not be possible without helping us to be the good stewards of taxpayer dollars in the state of Michigan. And I can't forget the customers who bring their business here. Our customers, many of whom stayed with us through some tough moments and are still with us today, such as the North American International Auto Show and Rod Alberts, the Detroit Boat Show, Autorama, SAE, First Robotics Championship, and the list goes on and on, ladies and gentlemen. So we thank them for bringing their dollars to our city. Yes, that's important. Thank you. Now, it was through our customers, management, employees, renovations, and investment, and the 1.5 million visitors to the convention center annually that we are now the 17th largest convention center in the country. Ours is a story of a city and a center coming together and accomplishing great things. And great things included battling back to become the showcase this center is today. Its $300 million renovation has resulted in a record-setting year in 2018, with 244 events and a 564% increase in revenue. And through the DRCFA's effective management of financial resources, the authority has saved the state's taxpayers an estimated $91.7 million since its inception through the early retirement of debt. The city of Detroit and individual municipalities across the state are also benefiting from this financial structure, saving them millions of dollars. Now, the state legislature, in its wisdom, included the ability for the authority to go out for naming rights when the legislation to form the authority was approved in 2009. And what great foresight that was. When we were ready to actually secure the rights, it was because the center was finally poised to be something that an organization could feel proud to put its name on. And it turns out that we never had to go outside of Detroit to look for the naming rights sponsor. We had the best partner right here in Detroit. There was only one organization and one company that connected the dots and worked to make the partnership a good fit. Thank you to the Focus and Connect group for making the naming rights process transparent and landing us the best possible partner. The sponsorship package is the largest, let me repeat that, the largest convention center deal in the country. And it happened here in our city with this center. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, Chairman Alexander. It is now my pleasure to introduce one of America's great civic leaders, the Mayor of Detroit, Mayor Mike Duggan, who has been a driving force for a positive change, including today's renaming of Cobo Center and ensuring one Detroit for everyone, connecting downtown to neighborhoods, an unprecedented approach to ensuring a thriving and inclusive and equitable city. Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Mike Duggan.
right. Well, today's been a long time coming, but it's a good day in the city of Detroit. And I think as everybody knows, for the last 3 years, I've been pretty vocal with Larry Alexander and the Convention Center about changing the name of this facility. And we need to be honest about some things. I mean, this center has been named for an individual who was responsible for policies that moved large numbers of African Americans out of their homes, out of their businesses with no place to go in the name of urban renewal. And the pain caused in that time still reverberates in this city today. And so I thought it was essential that there be a name change. But having said it's been a while, I could not be more pleased with the results of what Larry and the board have done today. And I want to start by thanking the man who made this possible, one of the great friends of Detroit, the chairman of TCF, Gary Torgo. Gary? Sometimes good guys do succeed. And my first month in office, when Gary had a little bank in Oakland County called Talmer, I took him and drove him around the Marygrove neighborhood, said, we got to bring this back, we need mortgages. And Talmer took it on, got into the neighborhood. Gary himself was visiting the houses and helped solve the problems in that area. Then he started to extend business loans to Detroiters so that we could have Detroiters start to build their own wealth and own their own businesses. And in the course of Talmer becoming Chemical, becoming TCF, we now have a 20-story headquarters for a $47 billion bank, one of the 10 largest in the Midwest, being built and headquartered right here in the city of Detroit. So today, the Convention Center turns a page. And from now on, this center will bear the name of an institution committed to rebuilding this city in a way that includes everybody. Congratulations to everybody who made it possible.
Thank you, Mayor Duggan. Not sure if I see Council President Member Jones. Thank you. Please welcome to the podium our senior United States Senator, Debbie Stabenow, who understands the centrality of Detroit to the ultimate success of our entire state and country, and who consistently advocates on our behalf in Washington, D.C., delivering power and resources to our city and state. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Debbie Stabenow.
Well, good morning. Isn't this a great day? It's so exciting, and we're not even going to let the rain has gone away, by the way. That's the power of this group up here. This is really wonderful, and I want to thank Larry and everybody involved in putting this together. And of course, it's wonderful to be here with our great governor, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, and the mayor, Mike Duggan, who's working every day in every way to move Detroit forward, and Reverend Wendell Anthony, and the great TCF team. We've got Craig Dahl, who's the new CEO, and I have to pause, as the mayor did, and speak about my great friend Gary Torgo and his partner David Provost, because when we have had tough times in Detroit, Gary Torgo has been here. When it was easy, okay, good, fine. But when it was hard, he was here also. And he is one of the reasons and the visionaries and the leaders of commitment to this community that has helped to bring back not only economic development downtown, but to support what's happening around the neighborhoods. And when Gary said, you know, we want to do this great deal, but we got to have it in Detroit, I knew it was going to be in Detroit. I knew it was going to be in Detroit. Let's, one more time for Gary. And thanks to everybody who's helped to make this happen. It's always wonderful to be here in what I consider to be the heart of Detroit. I don't know how many years I've been coming to this center, but it has been a long time. This has been a heart of activity in Detroit. But just think back for a moment to 1960. Some of us can think back to 1960. Okay. Top movie that year was Swiss Family Robinson. Go figure. And a ticket was 75 cents to get into the movies. Bubble wrap was invented, and 20 minutes later, somebody was probably popping it. And a brand new convention center opened here in Detroit and promptly hosted a major auto show. And as Larry indicated, the President of the United States was here. So that is our history here. So a lot of things have changed since 1960, but one thing has not changed. And that is that this center continues to host events that bring people together in the heart of Detroit. Whether it's the North American International Auto Show, where we see amazing products from around the world and we focus on what's made in Michigan by our great businesses and our great workers. Whether it's First Robotics Championship, where talented students can show us their skills in STEM. Whether it's the boat shows where we can daydream, and I've had many a daydream in the boat show in here about a great boat for an inland lake or on our Great Lakes. Or events like the 2017 Women's Convention, the NAACP National Convention that was just hosted in July, and the annual Fight for Freedom dinner, the largest sit-down dinner in the country, or probably, according to Reverend Anthony, the world. Right. And we can't forget the political conventions. So I'm excited about the name change for a great facility and a great city. And this truly is a symbol of new heights in Detroit. Congratulations to everybody who made this happen.
Thank you, Senator. It is true that all roads lead to Detroit and this great conference center. And I'm so glad that our next speaker is doing something about those. How fortunate to have in Michigan elected as our 49th governor of the great state of Michigan, the Honorable Gretchen Whitmer. Governor Whitmer is a long and dedicated Michigan public servant who has devoted her life to helping build a stronger Michigan for everyone. We're so grateful she is with us here today. Ladies and gentlemen, the governor of our great state, Gretchen Whitmer.
Thank you. Well, that was a heck of a segue, Danelle. I really appreciate that. That's when I knew it was my cue. I am so grateful to be here with all of you today. And the risk of speaking after my colleagues have is that we tend to be redundant. So forgive me if I mention a few things that they did. But I do think it struck me as they spoke how important it is that as people come to the city of Detroit, that they have a great first impression, that they have an opportunity to attend an event in a place that is named after an organization that is really dedicated to moving this city forward, that is showing leadership that is truly inclusive and creates opportunity. And that's why today's renaming is such a big deal and why it's so important. We were so thrilled to host the second debate for the Democrats running for president. And I have to tell you, as I spoke to the national news media and people who'd come to Detroit for the first time, they were absolutely stunned at how vibrant this city is, how much wonderful stuff is going on. Cranes in the air, places like the Fox Theater. And this is one of those places in Detroit that people come to for the first time when they come to the city of Detroit. And that's why today is so incredibly exciting and important, because this truly is the beginning of a new chapter for this particular venue. This is a place that just in the last month has hosted presidential candidates, the NAACP event, CEOs, businesses from around the world have come to this building for a meeting, for an exposition, for an event. And this is why it's so important what is happening here today, because TCF's leadership and dedication to this city, you can feel it in the people who represent the organization, but also in the commitment that they've made here. And every one of us benefits from this partnership. Earlier this year, when Chemical Bank announced that they were merging with TCF and that Detroit was going to be the headquarters, An announcement also contained a real investment in building in downtown Detroit, which would include 500 jobs for Detroiters and Michiganders, good paying jobs for which people will be coming to this city. Reasons that we have to continue to work on closing the skills gap in the state of Michigan, and yes, fixing the damn roads. I was talking with Gary backstage, and he said, we're making a big investment in the city of Detroit, and people have to be able to get here safely, predictably. And that's why it's so important that we recognize this great legacy that is Michigan, creating the middle class, putting people in good quality jobs, raising the standard of living, and putting the world on wheels. And that's why it's so important that we come together to get this done, to solve these problems. Because when the foundation is at risk, every one of us is at risk. Our bottom lines are at risk. And so I will continue to focus on that so that as people come to TCF Center, they will have a great experience here in the state of Michigan. They will want to make Michigan their home, and they will want to make the city of Detroit their destination in the future as well. So I congratulate TCF. I congratulate all the leaders here on this stage. A lot of different people played a role in making this happen today, but none bigger than that of the TCF board and their leadership, and so I'm grateful for their investment in the state of Michigan, in the city of Detroit, and I'm grateful for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Whitmer. Please join me in welcoming back Chairman Larry Alexander.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to stand here and be able to say that Gary Turgo, TCF Executive Chairman, is a friend of mine, and I am grateful that he was born and raised here. He's a man of high integrity, honesty, solid judgment, and business practices, and understands our community's heart and the customers that we serve. Just as the authority members have worked to grow the convention center to the 17th largest in the country, Gary has led his team to build and create the 27th largest bank in the country. Our partnership is solidifying the center's strong financial future and will move us toward becoming a self-sustaining facility by 2024. Our organizations together will achieve new heights in this industry, in this city, and for all of our people. And from a personal standpoint, I really can't think of a better person and organization in the country to partner with on this historic deal. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me to welcome to the podium a proud partner and a great visionary leader for our great city and state, Gary Turgo.
Before I begin my prepared remarks, I want to just single out two people in the room today. First and foremost is my business partner, David Provost, who I would not be here today without, and we would not be here today. So Dave, thank you very much. And second is, 3 years ago, I was having a chat with the mayor, and we got on the subject of Cobo. And he said, we are going to change that name, and I hope you are a bidder. I can't promise you're going to win, but I hope you're a bidder. And without him, we would not be here today either. Exactly 59 years ago this week, at a cost of $59 million, Cobo Convention Center, built on the edge of this historic Detroit River, opened its doors to the public and the community. Every sitting president since 1960, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan, Bush 1 and 2, Clinton, Obama, have given addresses in these hallowed halls, a number of which keynoted the largest NAACP dinner in the United States of America, hosted and coordinated by our own Reverend Dr. Wendell Anthony, right here in this incredible convention center. Following the Detroit Walk to Freedom Civil Rights March, the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., His I Have a Dream speech was delivered first at Cobo Hall in Detroit on June 23, 1963, 6 weeks prior to his historic deliverance of that speech in Washington, D.C. Standing here today at this podium as a lifelong and proud Michigander and a lover of Detroit, we, the team at TCF, deem it an immense honor to have the privilege to rededicate and rename this iconic and world-class facility. Let me introduce and call to the podium with me my partners at TCF, our CEO, Mr. Craig Dahl, our TCF President and Chief Operating Officer and an architect of Talmer and Chemical, Tom Schaefer. And my business partner and chairman, Mr. David Provost. It is most appropriate that we are partnering today with some of our city and state's great and impactful leaders, including Senator Stabenow, Governor Whitmer, Mayor Duggan, President Jones, our host county executive, Warren Evans, Mark Hackle, and David Coulter, all of whom without our banking institution would never have made such bold and critical decisions, including relocating our headquarters to the city of Detroit, the first bank to do so in nearly 20 years, building a headquarter facility a mere 3 blocks from here. We would have never made the commitment to invest so significantly in Detroit's neighborhoods under the banner of the mayor's historic strategic neighborhood initiative. And most certainly without a Larry Alexander, a truly bold and visionary leader, and his regional authority led by CEO Patrick Biro would not have given us the confidence to make a 22-year naming commitment to one of America's great convention center properties. We stand here today with an eye towards the future, which brings together a vision of a continued celebration of an ever stronger Detroit, a unified and one Michigan, a convention center which represents all Detroiters, and an exciting and unique partnership which embodies the foundations of community and economic success for every citizen. Together today, we are turning a new page for a convention center that continues to grow and succeed and support a great city, great counties, and the great state of Michigan. A new page for a bank that started a decade ago right here in Michigan in the midst of an American financial crisis with just $10 million in assets and 7 colleagues, which has now become the nation's 27th largest bank in our country with over 9,000 colleagues. And finally, a convention center, a new name for a city so deserving. Today, a name from the past comes down from these walls, and we proudly and honorably replace it with a name that stands for community and inclusion and a powerful future for everyone who is associated with it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure today, on behalf of TCF, to inaugurate for the first time one of our country's greatest gems, Cobo Conference Center, which becomes now and henceforth the new TCF Center. Thank you very much. Watch the name going down. That's not just an image, it really happened right outside there. To close our program this morning, it is my privilege to call upon the man who usually gets the last word. Reverend Anthony and the NAACP are indelibly tied to this convention center as it hosts year after year the 10,000-person annual dinner of the Detroit chapter. It is a signature event here at TCF and adds great luster to the character and the foundations of this historic hall. The Reverend has been encouraging a name change for as long as I have known him, and so has an important part in today's remarkable event. It is my great pleasure to introduce my dear friend, the inspiring leader, Reverend Dr. Wendell Anthony.
Let me say good morning and a great day to all of you who are here, for this is indeed a historic day. I do want to thank Gary Torgo and the TCF family, now adopted a new child, new citizen, new man under the guise of Donnell White, who once in the NAACP will always be in the NAACP. But I do want to say this, Camellia Landrum, who has come on now, is doing an outstanding job. We miss you, Donnell, but let me say this. We miss you, but Camellia ain't missed a beat. And give her a hand. Stand up, Camellia. This is the new executive director for the Detroit branch NAACP. We're proud of her, and we thank God for her. I'm glad that the governor and Senator Stabenow and Gary mentioned the NAACP Fight for Freedom Fund dinner here. I know Larry Alexander has a lot on his mind. He didn't mention that when he was talking about all the other events that occur here and the millions of dollars that over the years the NAACP has brought here. I know he has a lot on his mind. I'm in the forgiveness business, so I do forgive him for that. But I'm glad that they did make that very clear in terms of what we're doing here. And we're looking forward to 2020, even though we're changing the time period, which he knows, but we're looking forward to it. Today is indeed, as everyone has already indicated, quite significant and historic. It is significant because, Gary, we are all here marking its importance. It is historic because it has never, ever occurred before. Not this name and not in this era. It marks, quite frankly, a new beginning, a new chapter in the novel of Detroit's history. Rochelle Riley will write about this. Rod Maloney will report and talk about this. The Michigan Chronicle will even highlight this. Those of you will go out and share stories about this. It is historic. It is important. I wish to thank its author and illustrator, Gary Torgo, for his vision and precision in shepherding this march towards a bridge from a very negative and divisive past into a positive and constructive future. What's in a name? Quite frankly, everything. Names conjures up images of character and behavior and helps to identify who you are and what you may stand for. I just returned from West Africa along with Camellia, very specifically with the National NAACP in Ghana, as we mark the 400th anniversary commemorating the transatlantic slave trade from Jamestown, Virginia to Jamestown, Ghana. 1619 to 2019, millions of Africans were brought forcibly across the Atlantic. It was a historic, it was a solemn, yet it was a joyous journey. It was called, and it is called, the Year of Return. For many said that we would never, ever return after Africans were pushed through the steel bars and let down into the awaiting boats. Yet we did return, and we did defy all the odds thrown against us. Cultures were severed, languages were forbidden, and names were changed. A name in Ghana and in Africa signifies deep meaning. That's why my oldest daughter is Tulani Adumana Anthony. That name means my noble and shining black beauty. Grow up and be like that. My middle daughter, Maia Noni Anthony, special gift from God. Grow up and act like that. Our youngest daughter, in that the Lord did not bless me with a boy, Wendelea Adia Anthony, special blessing from God. Grow up and exemplify that. Names should reflect who you are and what you think and how you behave. That's why there are naming ceremonies when a new child is born and the family is brought together to celebrate and to bring joy and tribute to the house. I'm looking at the family coming to pay tribute to the name change that we're giving now to this center. A name change. It signifies, it portrays a message of what one is to be like if he or she is to be liked and respected in life. The name Cobo, after Mayor Albert Cobo in August of 1960, has been stated, was not one which brought to this convention center the level of respect and appreciation for all Detroiters. Now, some 69 years later, or 60 years later, it has reminded us of an era that we seek to want to keep in the past, never to be resurrected in the future, even though there are those today seeking to take us back to a period of division and discrimination. That does not increase us, but it will further diminish us. For more important than a nation being just great is a nation that has the greatness to be just. The great sage, Rabbi Tarfon Gary, who lived between 70 CE and 136 CE, between the destruction of the Second Temple and the fall of Batar, an ancient Jewish farm settlement in the Judean highlands, used to say, "You are not required to complete the task, but neither are you free to withdraw from it." We are all obligated to complete the task. The task is completed when everyone has the opportunity to participate, come to the table, and enjoy the benefits of the blessings that come not so much from our own doing, but from the collective good and united bond that makes us all who we are. As Albert Cobo broke up cities and created division, TCF is now bringing cities together and helping to create a spirit and activity of unity. As Albert Cobo busted up the Human Rights Commission in the city of Detroit, Gary Torgo has been a leader in civil rights and human dignity inside the city of Detroit. As Albert Cobo campaigned against the Negro invasion of white neighborhoods in Detroit, Gary Torgo has walked in the neighborhoods and knocked on doors. And I'm now sure that TCF will continue to help to build solid communities and neighborhoods and investments within Detroit. From a new headquarters in the center of town to new employees and new opportunities all around town. This marks the beginning of a new era. So what's in a name? It's reflected in who you say you are. For your mission, says TCF, to provide the essential means to enhance the rhythm of customers' lives and help them achieve their goals, unified by the passion to act as an ally of our customers. So know, those values and that mission could never be under the name Cobo. It therefore must now be under the name of the TCF Financial Convention Center, right here in the heart of downtown Detroit. Welcome to the city.
Thank you, Reverend Anthony. And Camelia, I know you wrote those remarks as I used to do for the Reverend all the time. So good job, Madam Director. Thank you all for being here today. Our celebration continues with a special day, Detroit Block Party, free for all ages. And we are excited to welcome to the new TCF Bank Center this evening in honor of Motown's 60th birthday, the one and only Temptations. Thank you all. We hope that you stay and enjoy the fun-filled activities. Have a great day, and thank you for being with us.